I want to show you a tip for black and whites. You know, I've made these videos and we're talking about Silver 3 in Lightroom and amazing black and white conversions in the raw process. And once you've done that initial process, yes, then you can go to Photoshop or some other pixel editor. You can use Lumist to specifically control zones in Photoshop. You can burn, you can dodge, you can do all this cool stuff. But there's a little trick I want to show you that most people don't realize using white balance to help master the black and white, and using the white balance tools as sort of a secondary color filtering system. And it can be very, very powerful. It's also a very fast way to get variations of your black and white without really having to fight it. Let's jump in and take a look. Now I have a bunch of black and white images that I've already converted here, all right? I'm just gonna take a few of these and we're gonna reset them. So I'm gonna select these, and without adjusting their crops, I'm gonna just go to the silver presets and use my silver base reset all, which resets all the base settings without adjusting the crop. Okay, let's go in here and let's take a look at a couple of these then. You just select this one and let's start with this. So let's go in and let's say we got this image. Now, what happens normally when we do the white balance? Here's an image that the develop module is untouched. And if I change the white balance, right? If we change the white balance on a color, we're adjusting that cast, that temp, that tint to get gray so that it's gray, or whatever effect we're trying to achieve. But notice what's happening as we do this. We're adjusting the cast of the image, which is affecting everything. It's affecting everything, and it's very reminiscent of the old filters that we used to use in the black and white days, right? You had the green and the red. In fact, we've kind of mimicked those in the new Silver 3 presets. You can see that we have, you know, the yellow 12, the orange 56, and you know, you get into the red 29, darkening intensely in the skies, things like that. And so you have those kind of traditional influences. But what happens when we're in a raw processor and we use that white balance with a black and white is we get an extra level of that control. We get an extra level, sort of an extra level of filter control. And we can do it on top of everything else, which is really cool. So let's take an example here. Let's go in and use a portrait conversion like silver skin on this image here. Okay, so we got a nice black and white conversion, and you can see that it's done lots of stuff over here with the channels and all that kind of stuff to give us a good portrait. Now what happens though? Our white balance is still at 0. We've converted it to black and white using the traditional digital raw black and white means. And I should mention that this should work in most raw processors, even if you don't use Lightroom. If you have a raw processor that has a black and white conversion and that also retains the ability to control white balance, you should be able to do this exact same method. Now look what's happening. Okay, I'm adding blue and it's changing the dynamic of that portrait. I basically have 2 extra sliders that leave all my contrast and baselines alone, and I can adjust those to dial in my gradients and my flesh tones and just get an image that's exactly the way I want. See how I'm adding here, making it warm, and it's brightening up the whole skin tone across. I can do the opposite, keep those skin tones darker until I just really get a nice combination here that really just has those nice clean skin tones. All right, so we can do this on any image, right? So if I go, let's go to this one of the elephants here, and let's go in, and it wouldn't matter if I converted it manually, right? I could convert manually and adjust sliders, or I could go down and I could use a preset. So I could, let's say, put the pinhole vintage on this, right? And I'm gonna get that kind of look, and now I can go up here to my white balance and I can again adjust that look dynamically. And you notice what's happening here. As I change these sliders are going to work differently every single image and every single time. That's affected dynamically by how your black and white mix is, right? So if we have black and white set to be bright on the blues, right, we're increasing the blue channel, and then we add more blue into that image, it's making more of the image blue, which is dynamically making the bluish areas, the most blue areas, are brightening. So this is a dynamic effect that is really cool because it's really flexible. Okay, let's take another portrait. So let's go in here and let me do the satin threads here on this portrait of Anna. Okay, it looks good. Now I can go in and you'll see this one already has some settings, because when I make presets, what I've done is I've started implementing some of these custom white balance controls to give a specific look to that preset. But no matter how you've achieved your black and white, you can always go in and just manipulate these sliders and get an alternate effect to the image. It's really cool. Okay, let's do one more before we wrap up. We'll keep this quick. So let's take this one, and here's another raw image out of camera, a little bit dark, but let's actually go in and we're gonna use the Jungle Waters preset to get a nice contrasty black and white. Let's go down to the mods, and I'm gonna do the backlight mod. Okay, we're looking good. And I'm going to dial up the exposure just a little by like 0.3. All right, so a third of a stop. Now what happens? It looks good, but what happens now if I take this as shot white balance and start tweaking it, okay? Now if I add to the blue, of course it's brightening up the water. Now why is it brightening the water so much? Well, look down here at our color controls. You can see that because this is an effect I applied that was kind of made for a water scene, the blues are already really bright. And so as I gravitate towards the blue, it's brightening that water, which in a lot of situations could be really good to bring some contrast to your water. Although in this long exposure here, on the river here, I've got pretty good water already. But what happens if I do something with the greens? You'll notice something else is that the greens have been lightened on this because we're trying to bring up that foliage. If I take the tint slider and I slide it down, watch what's happening to those greens. Okay, let me reset that to normal and let's look. Now here is greens. Let's go back to our base, and this was the raw image. So you can see there's greens in all this foliage. Let's undo that and go back to our black and white. Here's our base black and white. Watch what happens, how the dynamic completely changes as I adjust. Because remember, as we change this, it's affecting how these sliders see the color in the image because we're changing that base tint of the image. So I can go through here and really kind of bring up my foliage and black and whites right here, and I can just tweak around, add a little more warmth, and you can see that's kind of affecting my water. Now I don't want to be clipping, and actually I'm looking really good on the clipping here, so I can even push this a little further, really bring that out, maybe drop that exposure back down a little bit, and boom, I mean, it's looking really good. So here's what we started with, here's what we finished with. The bottom line is, if you're converting to black and white, you have your black and white controls, you have your tone curve, right, and then your channels for the more granular control, but an area that's often ignored is that white balance. It's like an extra layer of color filtering that harkens to me back a little bit to the film days, and you can just completely and dynamically change the look, and it's going to work differently on every image. That is the black and white balance trick. It's very powerful. Put it to work, have some fun with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you guys want to download the Silver 3 presets that I was using today, the black and white toolkits over on my website, seimeffects.com. Enjoy. Let me know if you have any questions. Peace.